right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Okay, if you can turn to 361 and let's sing together. Let's stand. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Spokane, where our mission is to join together to create a nourishing, liberal, religious home and to champion justice, diversity, and environmental stewardship in our wider world, or as we say in short, to create community, find meaning, and work for justice. We're glad to have you with us. Ours is a very welcoming congregation. And we appreciate your unique experiences, backgrounds, beliefs, and lifestyles. If you're one of our long-term members or have been here a short time, or if you're joining us today for the very first time, we're glad that you're with us. We also appreciate all of those who are streaming with us today. Thank you and welcome to this service today. This is a very special service today. It's a flower celebration. We thank you for participating in this celebration today. We'll share more information on how the celebration will go later on in the service. At this time, I've got a couple of announcements. First of all, I want to acknowledge that Todd Milne, today is his last day with us. Todd is moving on, and Todd has been here 8 or 9 years. He can't really remember for sure what it was, but it's 8 or 9 years. So we need to thank you very much, Todd, for all you've done with the congregation and all you do. So. Right now, I would like to invite Cindy Fine and Nancy Avery to share some information about the generosity campaign.
A strong community does not happen by accident. It is built and sustained by people who care. For generations, members of this congregation have given their time, talents, and financial support to ensure that this community continues to thrive. Because of that shared commitment, we are here today, and because of our choices now, this community will be here for those who come next. This is the power of community, sustaining something larger than ourselves. Currently, our generosity campaign total is $212,609, with a goal of $300,000. 77 friends and members still need to make their pledge. If you did pledge last year and want to extend your pledge this year, we'd ask you to give a call to the church office or fill out a pledge form again, either online or at the back of the church in the Friendship Hall. We'll take it anyway. If you have not yet made your pledge, we invite you to do so. Every gift matters, and every contribution helps carry this community forward.
You see in your order of service that this was supposed to be a responsive reading, but the words are so powerful that we wanted to make it a reading in unison. So if you would join us, please, in A Place of Meeting by Eileen Karpels. Out of wood and stone, out of dreams and sacrifice, the people build a home. Out of the work of their hands and hearts and minds, the people fashion a symbol and a reality. May this house be truly a place of meeting, meeting one another in warmth and joy and openness, meeting one another in courage and love and trust. May all who enter here trust one another so surely that they dare to share the deep fires that may burst into anger as much as the sweet spring waters that swell into laughter. The slow erosion of wounded tears as much as the soaring song. May these walls know silence as 100 hearts search inwardly, each for its own small spark of hope that might otherwise be snuffed out in the noise. May these rafters hear the voice of the child as surely as that of the orator, and the sound of the lute, the clack of the typewriter, the swish of the broom, and know that all are as holy as the shout of a million stars. May the rain fall lightly on this house, the sun shine warmly, the winds blow softly, and bless it as a place of joy and peace. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy and Cindy. Now, if you'll just take a few moments to greet one another, and then we will proceed with the service shortly. Yes. Thank you. We'll have more time to greet one another and share stories during social hour after the service, which includes great coffee, and I think there's apple pie back there today too. So we now turn from our informal greeting of one another to formally begin our service by the lighting of our chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism, the symbol of our unity and solidarity, of our openness and inclusion, of our community and individual uniqueness. May this small flame be our offering of warmth to those who are cold and alone, and a light to those in darkness. May it be a flame that ignites justice in our world and a beacon of hope to those in need. And may it reflect at least a spark of truth wherever truth has been lost, and cast a healthy shadow of doubt where it has been found.
Our opening reflection, oh, I'm sorry, this is opening reflection?
That's the unison to share, right?
No, that's the,
It's the same.
okay,
You can
in
use it.
unison. So you may join me in reading this. It's in your program if you wish. Children of the earth and sky, we are nurtured, sustained, and given warmth and light from above and below. Supported by earth's strong, firm crust, we build our homes, till the fields, plant our gardens and orchards. When we turn from self and seek to be aware, we will find holy light in human faces, in blossom, birdsong, and sky. Then earth is truly our home, and we are one with all earth's creatures, parents of earth's children's yet to be.
Okay, if you could please stand and let's sing This Little Light of Mine, which we usually hold this space for the kids to come up and sing if they want. And if not, that's okay, or anyone that feels like a kid, yep, or just loves to sing. All right.
We will now kindle our candles of care. And each time as we gather as a congregation, there are always those who are with us in our minds and hearts and who we want to wrap in our love and care. We kindle candles for all peoples involved in conflict around the world today. Those in Ukraine and Israel, Palestine, Iran, Syria. Frightened immigrants in our own country who are concerned about deportation and the risk associated with that. For the people of Darfur and South Sudan suffering from war, ethnic cleansing, and violence there as well. Let us share a moment in silence, embracing others who are here and here in our hearts and minds this morning. And you're welcome to share their names aloud if you are willing. Those named aloud and those embraced in our silence and all those who are suffering elsewhere in our world at this hour, we hold in our community of compassion. This time we now gratefully give and receive this morning's offering, which sustains this community and its mission to the larger world.
Marina, would you come forward? If there are children still in the audience, we'd welcome you to come forward and see the pictures for the story Miss Rumphius. This is an adaptation from that book. Once upon a time, although it wasn't very long ago, there was a little girl named Alice who loved two things more than anything in the world: stories and the sea. Every evening she would climb up onto her grandfather's knees, and he would tell her stories of faraway places, of mountains so tall they wore clouds like hats, of deserts where the stars were so many they looked like a sparkling quilt in the sky, of harbors full of ships with sails like great white wings catching the wind. Someday, Alice would whisper, her eyes shining, I will go to those faraway places too. And when I am old, I will come back and live by the sea. Her grandfather would pull her close and smile his slow, warm smile. That is all well and good, my Alice, he would say, but there is one more thing you must do. You must promise to make the world more beautiful. And so Alice grew up. She traveled to faraway places, and they were as wondrous as her grandfather had said. But the years of travel were long, and one day, Alice found that her bones were tired, and her heart was full. And it was time to go home to the sea, to the little house on the cliff, where the waves sang to her through the windows, and the salt air wrapped around her like the hug of an old friend. She had kept 2 of her promises, but the third one, the most important one, still waited. How do I make the world more beautiful? She turned that question over in her mind like a smooth stone. She watched the light change on the water, and she waited. One autumn, almost without thinking, she walked out onto the hillside with her pockets full of lupin seeds and scattered them to the wind. She didn't know exactly why, but it felt right. Next, winter came. The snow fell soft and quiet over the hills, and then it was spring. The lupins bloomed, purple and pink and blue and violet. They rose up along her garden wall, swaying gently, like they were listening to music only they could hear. And then the next spring, she noticed something. The seeds had traveled. On the far hill, there were more lupins, and the year after that, still more. The wind was carrying her gift further and further, to places she had never even walked. Until one morning, Alice looked out from her little house by the sea, and the whole world, the hills, the roadsides, the meadows, the forgotten corners, were laughing with color. She laughed out loud. That was it. That was her something beautiful. Alice is old now. The children in her town call her the Lupin Lady. They come and sit with her and listen to her stories the way she once listened to her grandfather's. And before they go, she cups their faces in her hands and looks at them with eyes still far away, full of faraway places. And she tells them what she was told. There is one more thing you must do. You must do something to make the world more beautiful. You brought a flower here today, or a plant. Thanks, Dale. That was your something. For this morning, for this community, for each other. As you leave today, you'll find a small packet of wildflower seeds to take home with you. They're in a basket back on the dessert table. A little something to carry in your pocket, the way Miss Rumphius carried hers. Find a patch of earth that could use a little color. Scatter them in your garden along a fence in a forgotten corner of the yard. Change begins with one person, one seed, one small and quiet act of love. And then the wind takes it, and it travels further than you can imagine, perhaps to places you'll never even see. I made it this far. And one day, someone will look out their window at the hillside full of color and feel sorry, without knowing why, that the world is good. This, by the way, where the book is located, that's a lupin.
Thank you, Nancy. That was beautiful. You were brave. As we move into a time of meditation, please find a relaxed, comfortable position. Unfold your arms, uncross your legs, and plant your feet firmly on the floor. You may close your eyes if you wish. And take a deep breath as I share the words of the poem Camas Lily by Lynn Unger. Consider the lilies of the field, the blue banks of camas opening into acres of sky along the road. Would the longing to lie down and be washed by that beauty abate you if you knew their usefulness? How the natives ground their bulbs for flour? How the settlers' hogs uprooted them, grunting in gleeful oblivion as the flowers fell? And you, what of your rushed, useful life? Imagine setting it all down. Papers, plans, appointments, everything. Leaving only a note. Gone to the fields to be lovely. Be back when I'm through with blooming. Even now, unneeded and uneaten, the camas lilies gaze out above the grass from their tender blue eyes. Even in sleep, your life will shine. Make no mistake, of course your work will always matter. Yet Solomon, in all his glory, was not arrayed like one of these.
I see trees of green and red roses too. I see them blue for me. and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And then I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the rainbow, skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream, they really do come true. Someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me. Where troubles melt like lemon drops away above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me. Somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. Birds fly over the rainbow. Why, then oh, why can't I? The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? Well, they're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. If happy little bluebirds fly beyond the rainbow, why can't I?
I'll tell you, you make it hard to do this, you know. So beautiful. Wow. So beautiful. Thank you. Let's see if I can make it through the second service. I didn't make it through the first, let's put it that way. All right. Good company? All right. We're all trying. Yeah. Jackie had to give me his tissue in the first service, so because Nancy used up all the other ones, so. Okay. Today, we gather to participate in a Unitarian Universalist flower celebration. This was also called the Flower Communion, a beloved tradition that has enriched Unitarian Universalist worship for over a century. Born from a desire to foster spiritual connection and community among people of diverse beliefs, this deceptively simple ritual was created in 1923 by Czechoslovakian Unitarian minister Norbert and Maja Capek. It's easy to dismiss it as a quaint, pretty custom, but it's more than this. It's a reminder that ritual, however modest, can help sustain us as we live out our values. Norbert Čapek, born in 1870 and died in 1942, founded the Unitarian Church in Prague, Czechoslovakia in 1922. Raised Catholic in Bohemia, which is present-day Czech Republic, as a teenager he grew disheartened by his priest's cynicism and the seeming failure of rigid Catholic dogma and authority to produce an inward, warm-hearted spirituality. Hence, at age 18, he became a Baptist, a fervent one, soon also becoming a Baptist minister. He was a powerful force, a compelling preacher, an editor of several religious journals, a prolific writer and composer of hymns, founder of almost a dozen Baptist churches, and an elected leader of the Union of Baptist Churches of Moravia and Slovakia. He was also a visionary thinker. His convictions became increasingly liberal, even radical, influenced by his study of the past and his openness to the theological ferment in the present. While studying the religious history of Bohemia and Moravia, he became convinced that the true faith of the Czech people was a free faith, a spiritual practice that prized individual conscience and pursued an ardent community life rooted in love. Around 1910, he discovered the Unitarian tradition and felt certain that it reflected the inner spirit of the Czech people. But he was not able to get support for establishing a Unitarian church, so he continued to develop his thought as a Baptist minister, though with increasing conflict. Catholicism had been the state religion of his homeland for years, and his writings were increasingly deemed anti-Catholic and censored. In 1914, the World War I on the horizon, and under threats of further reprisal from the government, he accepted a call to serve a small Baptist church in New York, followed soon after by a call to a larger Baptist church in New Jersey. However, Čapek's writings, which voiced his concern that the Baptist tradition was becoming dogmatic in its own way, led to 2 heresy trials soon after his arrival in the U.S. He was acquitted both times. But the personal sting ran deep, and in 1919, he resigned as a Baptist minister. A little over a year later, after having commissioned their 3 school-age children to sample the church Sunday schools in their New Jersey community, he and his wife Maja joined their children at the First Unitarian Church of Essex County. And from then on, at age 51, Čapek's spiritual vision found a home in the Unitarian tradition. After the conclusion of the First World War, Czechoslovakia became independent, and many Czechs seized on the opportunity to leave the no longer state-endorsed Catholic Church. Čapek and his family were among many other Czechs who decided to return from abroad to their homeland. And in his case, he went intending to found a Unitarian church that might invite the Czech people to rekindle the free faith and the true Christianity that he was convinced had deep roots in their past. And to say he was successful would be an understatement. While he and his daughter returned to Czechoslovakia, his wife Maja stayed in New York. Already during the ocean voyage back to Prague, with many Czechs among his fellow passengers, he offered talks on the true history of the Czech spirit, entwining its deep democratic spiritual inklings with support for Czechoslovakia's nascent democracy. Once in Prague, he set to building a church, not a structure, but a people. Recall those earlier references to compelling preacher and visionary thinker? After beginning with small groups of a couple dozen here and there in the fall of 1921, when he led the inaugural worship service of the Prague Congregation of Liberal Religious Fellowship in April 1992, there were over 1,200 persons in attendance. By the following year, Čapek wrote, "There were days when the large church where they rented meeting space, which comfortably holds 3,000 people, was filled to capacity, and that there were many who could not get in. And on Tuesday evenings, 700 or more gathered to hear the sermon a second time and discuss it. Successful? And then some. Membership of over 3,200 congregants." Excuse me. Norbert's approach to services was deliberately austere. It was a direct rejection of the ornate traditions he and his congregants had left. He eliminated ministerial vestments, elaborate ceremonies, incense, formal prayers, and rigid rituals, replacing them with simple sermons and hymns. While the congregation thrived on this intellectual freedom and rational inquiry, many members felt spiritually incomplete. They approached the Čapeks with a request. They needed something more, a gesture that would nourish their spiritual lives as well as binding the community together. Norbert and Maja's solution to honor both reason and spirituality was the deceptively simple flower communion. He needed a ritual that was without other religious associations and accessible to everyone. He created the flower communion and first instituted on June 24, 1923. Inviting everyone to bring a simple flower and place it in a large vase as they entered the church, Čapek preached about their common unity in heartfelt fellowship, regardless of race, class, or other distinction. A unity grounded in God who loved them all and who took joy in their common flourishing. A unity grounded in the shared purpose they had experienced over the past year, fashioning a community knit together by simple friendship and shaped by divine love. He reminded them that each of the gathered flowers had unique needs to grow and flourish, as well as unique beauty and gifts to offer, that each flower had a dignity and glory bestowed by God. Then he encouraged the congregation to come forward, each taking a different flower than the one they brought. These were to be taken home, and in doing so, he asked them to imagine themselves carrying home and caring for the needs of one another, noticing and celebrating the beauty of one another, and regarding with awe that God-given glory of their fellow congregants. A simple ritual, almost cute, except when practiced against the backdrop of rebirthing the spirituality of the Czech people and amid the shared experience of fashioning a community through the practice of friendship and love. And in that context, it proved a ritual that Čapek himself described as so powerful and impressive that I never experienced anything like it, adding that the most dry and rationalistic members were moved and many an eye brought into tears. For nearly 20 years, Čapek persevered in his vision, though not without some turmoil. There was friction at times with the more conservative and perhaps envious Catholic and Protestant churches, as well as occasional episodes of infighting within the congregation amid bouts of financial desperation. Still, the Unitarian Church in Prague was at one point the largest Unitarian congregation in the world. Over 300 or more children and youth were enrolled in the church's Sunday school. The congregation sponsored a church leadership training program and an extensive community counseling program. Courses in religious history and philosophy written by Čapek were being used in the public schools. Alongside the struggles, his conviction that liberal faith, prizing individual conscience and communal fellowship, could leaven the whole of life, and that was being shown true in his practice. And then the Nazis came knocking, literally. First in 1938 at the nation's border, when Hitler demanded the annexation of Czechoslovakia's southern territory, France and Great Britain, with the silent assents of the U.S., decided it was a sacrifice worth making to preserve peace. Rather than answer Czechoslovakia's call for defense, they pressured the Czech government to cede the land. And when the government felt it had no choice but to accept Hitler's terms, the protest by the Czech populace was fierce, and Czech was with the protesters. By the following year, 1939, the whole of Czechoslovakia was in German control. In March, the American Unitarian Association wrote to Čapek, offering him a minister-at-large position in the U.S., with a stipend sufficient to maintain himself and his wife until he could draw a pension in 1941. His response, tendered almost immediately, remarked on his happiness at the offer of economic security, commenting wryly that it is the first assurance since 1921 that I have an economic background for more than 1 year, after which he politely but firmly declined their offer, asserting that he could not leave his people in this moment no matter what suffering might come. Čapek now found himself ministering to a congregation, really a national community, that felt abandoned by the world but was united within itself. Shortly after the German occupation began, the 14 distinct Czech political parties coalesced to form a single National Solidarity Party, NSP. In April 1939, the NSP invited citizens to register as members of the new party on the basis of a single yes or no affirmation at the polls. To the ballot statement was, "I am a Czech." The results were announced on May 4th. Of the 2,083,427 persons who cast a ballot, 2 million, I didn't get through this first time either, did I? 2,079,185, 99.25% of them voted yes, solidarity. Life in the congregation in Prague continued with fervor, as well as in the 6 mission centers it sponsored around the country. Unable to buck the German occupation, the people fueled their inward fellowship with all the energy they had. Maja reported that the flower communion was being celebrated both in Prague and in the missions, and now a mystical embrace of dignity, beauty, freedom in the very shadow of death. Because of the crowds that came to hear Čapek preaching, Gestapo agents also attended regularly, listening for any covert messages he might be trying to pass to his congregation. Although he did manage to slip hidden phrases of national pride into his messages, even proclaiming in one sermon, "Knowing how to live is a great thing, but the highest knowledge of living must include the knowledge of how to die. For we are God's children and heirs of immortality." There is no record that the Gestapo ever caught on to the full subversive character of his preaching. When Čapek turned 70 on June 3, 1940, his congregation planned a festive celebration. More than 700 persons came, including noted guests from other churches and many organizations. More than 100 congratulatory letters and telegrams arrived, but the showstopper was a gift he received from the church's Board of Trustees, no doubt delivered apart from the public fanfare, a short-wave radio. As with all such radios sold in German occupied lands, it carried a tag that warned users that listening to foreign broadcasts was a crime punishable by death. From then on, it might be said that Čapek flirted daily with death, as it became his routine to listen to BBC or Voice of America broadcast each day for the next 9 months. It's not clear how widely Čapek shared the news he gleaned from these broadcasts, though it's likely they shaped the tone of his preaching. In any case, the following March in 1941, the Nazis came knocking again, literally this time on Čapek's door. There are too many details to fill them all in. Čapek and his 28-year-old daughter Zora were arrested and charged with listening to and disseminating foreign broadcasts. Čapek himself was also charged with high treason on account of his public preaching. After initial trial, they were held for an entire year before the appeal was heard in April 1942. Both were found guilty of listening to foreign broadcasts. But the court determined that Čapek's preaching did not rise to the level of treason. Zora was sentenced to 18 months, and Čapek himself, on account of his age, was given a 12-month sentence, including the recommendation that he receive credit for the 11 months already spent in jail. Zora served her sentence and survived the war, but when Čapek's sentence was received at the Gestapo headquarters in Prague, it was ignored. Actually, ignored is too light. The case officer there wrote on the file, "Send this prisoner to Dachau." His return is unwished. It seems likely that this death sentence came in retaliation for the assassination of the Nazi official overseeing the German occupation of Czechoslovakia. The Gestapo were livid, and executions of opinion leaders were rampant. On July 5th, 1942, Čapek arrived in Dachau. He remained there for a little over 3 months, put to hard labor. The only eyewitness report from Dachau, a letter written to Maja soon after the war ended, came from a Catholic priest who had been with Čapek in Dachau. He described their living conditions as brutal. There was such terrible hunger that we were driven to digging for earthworms and eating them. Then he recounted Čapek with awe, an encouragement to others at all times, sharing his meager rations, bringing a great number of others to God there in the camp, a man whose countenance carried in it a higher power. On October 12, 1942, Norbert Čapek was put on an invalid transport and taken to another site to be murdered by poison gas. It may be apocryphal, but there is undoubtedly truth to the stories that came to say there in Dachau, Čapek celebrated his final flower communion. Inviting those many of his fellow prisoners who were drawn to him to find whatever bit of green or beauty, whatever glimpse of art or echo of life could be found in the prison yard, and to make a simple pile. No vase this time. And then to tell yet one more time about the inherent dignity of each person, the grand and glorious reach of God into the human soul, and the joy, the true freedom that is born of human community when care is genuine and love is real. And finally, to invite those gathered around him to retrieve some shabby bit from that motley pile and transfigured it into priceless treasure. Sorry. Today we have access to many of the undelivered letters written between Norbert and Maja while he was in Dachau. Poems he wrote while imprisoned and statements from his fellow prisoners who survived the camps. These documents reveal the depth of his faith and his unwavering belief in the power of beauty and community to nourish and sustain us. He wrote that he found source of strength and connection to the eternal that sustained him during his imprisonment. His quiet conviction fortified not only himself but also his fellow prisoners who testified to his enduring spirit and ministry. They recounted how he even introduced the flower communion into the camps. Again, participants would gather whatever they could find. It was often just dandelions and blades of grass or twigs, and they celebrated their shared humanity amidst unspeakable hardships. In our own times of crisis and uncertainty, it's easy to view beauty as a luxury, something we can't afford when pressing issues demand our attention. The flower communion, as conceived by the Čapeks, challenges this perspective by affirming that beauty is, in fact, a necessity. When we gather flowers, create art, or simply pause to appreciate the natural beauty around us, we affirm that the world is worth saving, that life is worth celebrating, and that joy becomes an act, a powerful act of resistance. As Unitarian Universalists, we are often called to do long-term, often unseen and unrecognized work. And much of the work we do in our personal growth, in our communities, and in the wider world is an investment in outcomes we will never fully witness. Think about the social justice movements we all support and the systematic changes many of us advocate for. These are not quick fixes, but long-term struggles that span generations. In our own church community, we try to build something together. Relationships, traditions, a culture of welcome and growth. And knowing that future generations will inherit and transform what we create, just as what we have inherited from Norbert and Maja Capek's legacy. This flower celebration is practical support for the work that is asked of us. It grounds us and replenishes us when activism, caregiving, and the daily maintenance of community leaves us drained. Simplicity of shared gesture in the giving and receiving of flowers refills our reserves. It tells us our sacrifices matter even when our outcomes are slow. And it connects us to those who have come before and will come after us. The ritual reminds you that you are part of something larger than yourself, something that transcends your individual lifetime. The flower you receive from someone else is a tangible reminder that your work matters because you do not do it alone. If you want, just sort of think of this flower celebration as a sort of a spiritual gas station. We stop, we refuel on beauty and mutual support and recognition. And we go back into the work and our world with just a little bit more capacity. It doesn't solve structural injustice, nor does it replace strategy or policy, but it does nourish the people who sustain those efforts. By renewing our sense of belonging and purpose, the ritual helps us carry forward the patient, unglamorous labor that can often change hearts, institutions, and sometimes generations. Today, as you receive a different flower than the one you brought, receive it as a gift from this community. May it nourish and sustain you. May it fill your heart with courage and your spirits with hope. May it remind you that you are not alone, that others are walking this path with you, and may it inspire you to continue the sacred work of building a more loving, just, and compassionate world. Now let us come together in celebration of the simple and beautiful ritual that we have inherited from Norbert and Maja Capek. It is now time for our celebration to begin. And as we begin, Nancy will come up shortly and will explain how we will proceed, but we always begin with the consecration of the flowers. And this was Dr. Čapek's words. This is hard. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessing on these, thy messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts to be one in desire and affection, and devotion to thy holy will. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully our relationship, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of all of us are needed to do thy work in this world. Nancy?
I think we all needed this. What we would like to do while Jackie plays is have the folks on these two sections of the church line up in that middle aisle over there, and these two sections line up there in that aisle, and then return to your seat via the middle aisle. So I'm going to have Dale and Lynn show you how to do it. Whether you brought a flower or not, all are welcome at this table. And may we begin.
Okay, if we could please stand and sing number 63, Spring Has Now Unwrapped the Flower. Spring has now unwrapped the flowers, days past reviving, life in all our growing boughs, shining, all the orange touch of gold, winter time and frost time, seedlings working through the mold, now make up for lost time. Earth and winter long slumbered at their leisure, now be stirring green and strong, finding growth and pleasure. All the world with beauty feels, gold the green enhancing, flowers make glee among the hills, set the meadows dancing.
As we close today, I want to first, again, thank Todd Milne for all he's done. Thank you, Todd. As we close, I want to share these words from John Denver's Rhymes and Reasons. We believe it is here we must begin to seek the wisdom of children and the graceful way of flowers in the wind. For the children and the flowers are my sisters and my brothers. Their laughter and their loveliness could clear a cloudy day. Like music of the mountains and the colors of the rainbow, they are a promise of the future and a blessing for today. And the song that I'm singing is a prayer to non-believers. Come and stand beside us. We can find a better way. Amen. Blessed be. Salam alaikum and shalom. Shalom Hamerim, Shalom Hamerim, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Hamerim, Shalom Hamerim, Shalom.
lot of like plant.
Really?
He has maple leaf. He has chrysanthemum. He has pineapple rag. Gosh, I have all of his. I have the whole book, but I had to print it off because I don't have a page turner
And
today. So.
again, that kind of drag thrown in with anything you do at Rockwood, they keep telling me they're going to get back to you.
Well,
But
things take
but
care.
they